Hi everyone, I'm Jason Crandell. I want to talk to you for a moment about learning how to break down a yoga pose. Now this is of course in very simplified terms. Oftentimes what I find is when people are newer to the practice or haven't really learned how to unpack what's happening in the body in any given yoga pose, it's easy to become visually overwhelmed or physically overwhelmed with all of the different parts of the body moving in different ways within a pose. And this becomes even more the case in complicated or demanding, more difficult yoga postures. But one of the things that I've learned to do, and I think that most people can do, and I certainly work with my students in order to start to understand how to do this, is if you want to understand what's happening in a certain pose, just on basic physical level, especially if it's a harder pose, is practice not looking at the whole pose at the same time. Right? You can look at the whole pose at the same time to get a general orientation and to get the feel and the look for it. But if you want to learn how to unpack it and break it down, what you want to start to look at is just look at different body parts one at a time. So for example, let's say someone's doing a back bend. Just take a moment and actually look at, well, what are the shoulders and the arms doing in the back bend? And then pause for a moment and look at the spine. See what is the spine doing and where is it making its major movements and curves. Pause for a moment. Look at what the hips are doing in the back bend. And say, oh, the hips are either tilted forward, tilted back, or rotated in some way. And then take another moment and step back and say, oh, well, what are the legs doing? So instead of getting overwhelmed by seeing all of the different parts of the body seemingly moving in disparate ways, you just look at different segments of the body, and what you'll realize, and this is a really important piece of information, is that all poses are just combinations of simple, identifiable actions, right? If you look at any one part of the body at any given time, you'll realize it's doing a simple and identifiable thing. And where yoga poses start to become more difficult or more demanding or more visually confusing or physically complex is the combination and the intensity of all of those different identifiable actions. So again, you want to see the pose as a whole and as a full composition, but then learn to zoom in and say, what's each different part of the body doing? And start to understand that you can break all of this stuff down and start to approach each one of those aspects of the body within your practice. Okay? I hope this inspires you to continue to practice, but also to see the simplicity within the complexity of any given pose. Okay? Thank you. Take care.